After taking a pummelling from Mayo, the draw couldn't have been much tougher for Roscommon than a pairing with Tyrone, who took Offaly to the cleaners last week, winning by a massive 22 points in Tullamore. Out of the frying pan and into the fire is how Roscommon manager John Evans dubbed it. It was tight and physical early on, with both sides guilty of spurning good chances. In fact, remarkably, we had to wait until the 15th minute for the opening score. An easy free for Kilbride's Conor Devaney. With Roscommon operating with 13 men behind the ball at times, Tyrone found it hard to make any headway against Roscommon's resistance, but one way around it is to kick from distance, as exemplified by Mark Donnelly. This was the third year in a row that these sides have met in the qualifiers, with Tyrone winning the previous two. It was evident from the start of this instalment that Roscommon were well and truly up for the battle. They had a goal chance when Neil Collins collected, but he elected to take his point. 2 points apiece. But the goal arrived shortly afterwards. Conor Devaney typifying the Roscommon spirit. He never gave up the cause and plundered a goal to make it 1-2 to 2 points with 6 minutes to go to half-time. Darren McCurry made his inter-county debut as a sub in last year's meeting of the side, scoring 4 points from play. He got the first of his 6 points to move Mickey Hart's side to within 2 points of the Primrose and Blue. And Tyrone, the 12-1 on favourites, finished the first half strongly. Mark Donnelly from Carrickmore tucking over his second point of the game. At times it was quite niggly. In fact, 6 players, 3 from each county, were yellow carded in the first half. Tyrone had a great goal chance when Martin Penrose picked out Joe McMahon, and Big Joe, in his 50th championship match, was denied by a fine save by Darren O'Malley. Conor McCalliskey landed the subsequent 45 to leave it all square at half-time, 1-2 to 5 points. The Tyrone dressing room must have been an interesting place at half-time, because they took a firm grip on the third quarter, and that provided the platform for victory. Darren McCurry scored 8 points against Offaly last week, and he reeled off 3 frees before kicking Tyrone into a 4-point lead. Martin Penrose added another fine point before Sean Kavanagh tagged over this score. It looked like Tyrone had made a decisive kick for home, leading by 6, 11 points to 1-2. Roscommon hadn't scored in the second half until Kevin Higgins found the target in the 17th minute, and suddenly they were reinvigorated. Donny Shine stepped up to the plate and swept over this free to leave the Hyde rocking, the deficit down to 4 points. And Roscommon stuck at it. Cathal Craig sparked into life in the second half and almost got in for a goal, but had to be satisfied with a point. And the Western Gales man pointed a free with 6 minutes to go to leave 2 points in it. Tyrone in trouble and without a score since the 19th minute. But with Tyrone on the rack, Roscommon couldn't add to their tally, and they missed some good chances to do so in the closing stages. The Rossies fought right to the end but came up short. Tyrone progressed, but they were given a real test and a real scare. Roscommon bow out, but with their heads held high. 3,542 at Hyde Park. They finished Tyrone 12 points, Roscommon 1-7.
Look, after 10 weeks of training, we went up to Castlebar and we folded the tent and didn't play, and everything that was to go wrong did go wrong. But it takes a strong and mentally tough team to come back and come out against another top 6 team and put in a performance like that, and Roscommon have oodles of it.
And the Roscommon players must be feeling down now, but I'm sure the word from you will be there's much to look forward to, much to be positive about.
There is, for one simple reason. There's a lot to work with. A lot of very talented players, committed players, and that's what I'm here to do, is rebuild this team, work with them, and look, that's all you can ask for.
Celtic Park was again the venue for the second meeting of the sides this summer. A cloudy, windy but warm night in Derry as Down looked to repeat their championship win of the 2nd of June. But they were hit by the late withdrawal of the influential Benny Coulter, and one interested spectator was the Donegal manager, Jim McGuinness. Down had a 2-point advantage early in the game, courtesy of 2 Donal O'Hare frees, before Ryan Bell opened Derry's account in the 11th minute. Moments later, Derry were level for the first time in the match. The home side dropped their short game, and the more direct style of play led to an equalising score for Owen Bradley. James Keelt then put the Derry men into the lead with a free before 19-year-old Bell extended that advantage with this score and a further Keelt point, but Derry 5-2 ahead by the 26th minute. Down were playing into a stiff breeze in the first half and hadn't scored for a full 18 minutes before Ambrose Rogers drove at a backpedalling backline and put over a point for Down to reduce the margin to 2. But Derry used the wind and the slope at Celtic Park to good advantage and replied to that Ambrose score with 2 points of their own. The first from Liam Kennedy, their corner forward, and the second one from Bell, his third of the first half. And Derry now led by 7 points to 3 by the half-hour mark. Down, who trailed Derry by 4 points in the Ulster Championship meeting in June at half-time before eventually winning by 5, hit back late in the first half as Donal O'Hare, scorer of their opening 2 points, scored a goal. He then added a point, and by half-time the sides were level. Now playing against the wind, Derry nevertheless started the second half the better and could well have scored an early goal had Down keeper McVeigh not saved brilliantly from Owen Bradley. Bell took the resultant 45 and the teenager scored well against the breeze to put Derry ahead again. Down were playing with all the advantages of the elements, but they couldn't deal with the pace of Derry's front line, and Owen Bradley put over a point, his second of the evening, and Derry led by 2. Derry were playing all the good football now, and substitute Emmett McGuckin scored a point from distance, one of the best scores of the second 35, and he further increased Derry's lead. Down hadn't scored in the second half and they were awarded a free close in, but they were then reduced to 14 players when their fullback Benny McCardle got involved in an altercation. Referee Cormac Riley spoke to his umpires before showing McCardle a straight red card. O'Hare pointed a free for Down, which turned out to be their only score of the second half. But Derry weren't to be denied and closed out the game. Owen Bradley fed Bell and he popped over a point, taking his personal tally to 6 in this low-scoring contest. Emmett McGuckin had a chance to score a goal for Derry late on, but in his jump with McVeigh in the Derry goal, he had to be content with a fisted point. Down were already down to 14 players when they were further reduced in injury time as their midfielder Kevin McKiernan swung an arm at McGuckin, which left him on the ground. And referee Cormac Riley produced the second red card of the evening, sending off McKiernan. Derry gained revenge for their Ulster Championship defeat as they advanced to the third round of the qualifiers against a downside that scored only 1 point in the entire second half. It finished at Celtic Park, Derry 13 points, down 1-5.
Our discipline was very good. Our discipline in the tackle, like a number of times there, we could have conceded frees when the game was sitting in the balance, and we held men up and won a free out of it or turned them over. So that was good, you know. Like there's a side that conceded 2-17 5 weeks ago, and like Down had three years Division 1 experience on us. So we had 5 weeks to catch up on 3 years work, like. And to be fair to them, they did it real well.
Well, maybe the goal and the point just before half time maybe put a wee bit of gloss on our first half performance. Like we just didn't reach the level of intensity, and it maybe wasn't to the second half that Derry exposed that, but they were first to the ball all over the field. They played their strength in the tackle, their intensity they played with, that left us second best.
OK, we'll chat about Derry and Down in a moment, but first the Tyrone Roscommon match. You were there, Kevin, yesterday. What do you make of Tyrone?
They will be extremely disappointed. You know, it was a very strange game for them. They had the game won at the three-quarter mark after a horrendous first half from both teams, you know, a real blanket defensive setup. And the game won, as I say, and they started wheeling on subs pretty liberally, and it deflated the whole momentum. And a match that started out for Roscommon as damage limitation then grew and grew, and with 5-10 minutes to go, Roscommon said, God, here's a chance to win it. And in the end, I'd have to say, as trying to be as neutral as I can be, it was a game that Ross left behind them. So for Tyrone going forward into the next round, they have a lot of stuff to be thinking about. They moved out of my top rankings. I have to say their performance wasn't anything like I expected from Tyrone. And in the end, Roscommon have this week to think about what might have been.
OK, and Derry and Down, that's a big win for Derry at home to Down.
Yeah, I mean, 6 weeks ago we had the game in the championship between the two of them. You know, we had some excellent long-range scoring, you know, high-scoring game, but unfortunately we didn't have that yesterday. I mean, I think Down, after that, you know, massive performance against Donegal, mentally and physically, you know, they could have left it, you know, at that game. Yeah. Coming to Celtic Park again it's a very difficult place to go, and I've gone there myself, and it's very hard to get a win. And Derry seemed to be very lucky getting home draws, but you know, right up to half time in this game it was a draw match. Yeah. Whereas we saw in the last game, you know, Derry would have been strong before half time. Down pulled off. in towards the end. In this game, Down were coming back at half-time, but it was Derry that actually, pulled away in the second half. And this is, a second win for Derry on the trot. They're going into round 3 full of confidence, and that's what the qualifiers are all about.
Champions.
You actually do get a run, in the qualifiers, and your confidence is really high after, 2 good wins. So, we'll see what happens.
But nobody will want to go there, you're saying?
Absolutely, it's a tough place to go.
OK, well done to Derry. Well, that's about it for tonight. A very busy night again. My thanks to Dermot and Kevin for joining us, and to you for watching with us. From all